In today's episode, I'll be giving my review and reaction to the third season of Mike White's White Lotus, going into an overall season review and then going into each episode and giving my thoughts and reactions throughout the episode, my favorite and least favorite character in that specific episode. So let's dive right into the third season of White Lotus. Do something, man. People are questioning you. Shut up. Shut up. Okay, yep, do that. Sure, guys. Stupid and dumb. Just an idiot. Get your shit together, son. Fuck it. I loved it. Welcome to the dub cast. Coming into the White Lotus season 3, I was pretty excited for this season. You know, the White Lotus has been kind of a surprising show for me. You think of what I like to watch, like sports stuff, action, dramas, that type of stuff. This wouldn't be on my radar at all, but I had a good friend introduce it to me 2 years ago, my senior year at college, and since then I've been hooked, waiting for this new season. It's another one of those shows that takes their time to come out with a new season, but I like the concept of the White Lotus. You know, these one-off seasons where maybe one or two characters comes over from the previous season, and it's like different storylines, different places, all these different family dynamics. You know, the whole show is just a vibe for real. So I was excited to get into the White Lotus season 3, and for the most part, I don't think it disappointed. I think you had some episodes where not much happened, and there are people out there who say nothing happened. This episode sucks. This show has gone too mainstream. I don't think this show is meant to be some, big The Sopranos weekly like TV binge watching. I think it was just kind of accidentally got popular is the way I would put it. I mean, Mike White's kind of alluded to that in his interviews as well. Shout out Mike White from Survivor 37, David vs. Goliath. Also made not Kid Rock, something Rock. I don't know. He's a famous filmmaker and TV showmaker. He's done great work, The White Lotus, but I don't know. I think the show has gone too mainstream. I think for us out there, the actual White Lotus enjoyers, I thought this was a pretty good season. Overall, I'd rank it in between seasons 1 and 3. I think season 1 is the worst. Maybe I just have the worst recollection of that season, but I thought season 2 was slightly better. And then I think season 2 is slightly better than season 3, but I thought this was a solid season. I think a main harping point for me is some of the stories didn't really end in a good way. And, there are people, I don't want to be like, I'm not one of those mainstream people who's like, this ended all wrong and whatever. I thought the ending was climactic. It was fun. But I think, at least for one of the families, the storyline didn't really make sense. And then for everyone else, it was happy enough, not happy enough, but like we got a satisfying ending. We'll get into that though for sure. But yeah, on my pantheon, I got 2 as the best season, then season 3, then season 1. That's my tier ranking right now. Thought this was a solid season. Looking forward to season 4. I love how they just get a bunch of random actors together. Like, I didn't even know Patrick Schwarzenegger was a actor, so it was good to see him in this. Carrie Coon, all the women were great. Yeah, this was a good watch for season 3. I really did enjoy the season. I would recommend for people to start watching The White Lotus, especially. I will say one thing though. My one harping point is I don't think this is a weekly show. I think The White Lotus serves much better on a binge. That's how I watched the first 2 seasons. I think I watched it in 2 or 3 sittings, and then that was it. It seems like they're going to add an episode every season just because they've done 6 episodes season 1, 7 episodes season 2, 8 episodes season 3. That's fine, but I feel like the weekly format kind of takes away from the intrigue of it all because it's like right in your face. I mean, I don't like the weekly intrigue or the weekly method for a bunch of these shows, man. I think The White Lotus is like that serves better on a binge. So maybe just wait till it's over and then watch it all in a couple of sittings, catch up. Well, that's just better in general because you can just go right from episode to episode and not have to wait for a week for it to come out. But I think The White Lotus overall is better on a binge watch than waiting week to week. You kind of lose the steam there a little bit, in my opinion. Just my thoughts. So quick season overview there. What was your guys' thoughts on this season? Once again, another season well done, in my opinion. We'll see about season 4, but exciting stuff here, season 3. So with that being said, now let's dive right into the episodes and these crazy characters that we get, starting with episode 1 titled Same Spirits, New Forms. So we are introduced to a character named Zion. He is meditating, and then there's gunshots from somewhere. Feel like that's going to be important to remember across the season. I wrote at the time, I mean, this was 9 weeks ago at this point that I wrote this notes, but it was important because that's always just like in the back of your mind, like who's going to end up getting shot. He finds a body in the river. we don't even Zion doesn't even come into the show until like episode 6 or 7. So that was a nice tease you moment of like, definitely remember this when it comes up later because it might happen later. We can talk about Zion's character later. That's kind of just a basic intro to him. We have the boat coming into the White Lotus, as always, has a full boat of characters. Our first people we meet is the Ratliff family. Saxon, definitely one of the bigger characters of the season. Thought he was a little bit weird off the jump. Definitely frat bro, like Sigma, like whatever the whatever they call him these days. I don't know if we've gone on to the next Greek character past Alpha, Sigma. I don't know. He's definitely one of those guys like work out and jerk off and disrespect women. It's like, dude. Anyways, they learn no Wi-Fi. I'm sure that will go over well. That plays a big factor in the season later on. They don't like the White Lotus idea of putting your phones away. We learn Lach Lin is the younger brother. He is kind of stuck between the brother and the sister, in my opinion. They're kind of on the opposite ends of the spectrum, at least to start the season, where Saxon I just mentioned, but the sister Piper is kind of this like chill vibes only, like lights, what's that stuff you put in your room, incense type, you know, and they're kind of just on the polar opposites of the spectrum, and Lachlan's kind of trying to find his place in that sibling dynamic. So that's the Ratliff family. We meet Rick and Chelsea, who Chelsea I think is, in my opinion, the standout character of the season, but her and Rick's dynamics amazing, especially with their ending. But the basic dynamics to start us off, Rick's grumpy and she's upbeat. He's also much older than she is, probably 20, 30 years, but they're here together on this sort of trip to, have fun together, but Rick doesn't really have a lot of fun on this trip. And then we meet our girls, Kate, Lauren, Lori, and Jacqueline. The vibe I got initially was they all like Jacqueline because she's famous. That's kind of the only reason they stayed together, but they have a good friendship, It's lasted through the wars for sure, and I appreciate Jacqueline being able to like hang out with her two friends and not be like, I'm too cool for you, sell out. We've all had a couple friends who have been sellouts. But, shit happens, and once you get through that, it's better. It's a lot better. So, lot of yada yada in this episode, kind of world building. I'm sure I'm missing a lot in this episode, but I can only go off my notes. So, if I'm missing anything, I didn't find it important at the time. What I did find important at the time, Natalie Cole and Carl make their appearance from season 37 of David vs. Goliath, continuing the trend of one person from each, or a couple people from Mike White's Survivor season making it onto the show. We also get an unprompted cameo from Christian and his wife later on in the show, which I definitely didn't write that down in my notes. So pulling Carl, Godfather Carl was a beast. Natalie Cole, one of the most iconic Survivor characters of all time. So to see them sitting at the restaurant together was cool. Tim right away is going to start getting calls from the Wall Street Journal, so his arc starts right off the bat. He becomes worried, and he also, well, the calls at first are like those typical, like, hey, do you have a moment to talk? But when you're getting a call from a newspaper outlet or a media outlet, especially post 2020, cancellation on the way. He is beefing with Rick because Rick is smoking on the boat, and he's one of those like, don't smoke in front of me, blah blah blah, even though he has a raspy ass voice. I don't know if it's legal in Thailand. You can't really disparage him too much because it's legal. We learn Zion is actually Belinda from season 1 and maybe 2's boy. So Belinda wanted to open a spa with Tanya, Jennifer Coolidge's esteemed character, and now that we know that, he's like, in the beginning, he's like, my mom, I hope it's not my mom. So you're panicking the whole season, especially with Belinda's storyline. It's going to be Belinda. That was the one he found in the water, but it wasn't. Spoiler alert. Spoilers down the road, by the way. But that made me worried for Belinda because, we like Belinda on this channel. And our last point of this episode, Lori is somewhat on the outs of the trio, at least it seems initially, since she doesn't have as much money or doesn't have like a solid relationship. I know Kate has a nice husband, Jacqueline has a boyfriend, Lori's single, she has a kid, doesn't have as good of a job as the other two. And when she sees them kind of talking as much or talking without her and, feels that, I've been in a lot of friend groups of 3 people in my life, and when you feel like you're on the bottom of that, it does suck a lot. So I understand what Lori's going through in this, and she's kind of self-doubting. So that sucked for Lori, and the trio will just get more and more toxic as time goes on. So wrapping up episode 1, my favorite from this episode was Chelsea. She gave off good vibes only, and she was kind of the only one who didn't do something weird. Seems mostly normal. Definitely like Chelsea throughout the season. Least favorite I'm giving to Rick. Just thought he was really pissed off for no reason. It's your vacation. Have some fun, man. Like, chill out a little bit. Have a drink. Let's go. Have a nice vacation at the White Lotus. So that'll wrap up episode 1. Let's dive right into episode 2. Episode 2 is titled Special Treatment. This one kicks off with learning a little bit more about Lori. As I mentioned at the last episode, her life is not going great. Her kid has been kicked out of 2 schools. She didn't get the promotion she wanted. And her friends, Jacqueline and Kate, are talking shit, saying she looks defeated. She's drinking a lot, which is I feel like that's like the classic woman thing to say when you're like past the age of 30. Oh, she's drinking a lot tonight. You know, it's like sketchy. I don't know, though. I feel bad for Lori. Like I mentioned before, she's kind of got the worst situation of the 3 friends, so I feel like she takes it pretty personally. Very awkward interaction at breakfast where Kate mentions meeting Victoria, who is the Ratliff family's mother, one of the best characters of the season, at a baby shower. And this is a very awkward interaction because Victoria seemingly has no recollection of ever meeting Kate. And people on Twitter I just saw recently were like, what was the point of this interaction? This show doesn't need to have a fucking point of everything. It's not fucking Stranger Things where you're like method it out on TikTok and figure out the show. It's just random shit. So I think this scene just shows you Victoria's kind of like half here with us. Like she's not even with us really when she's on the La Raza fam. I'm going to do a terrible impression of her throughout this podcast. But yeah, I mean, Kate was kind of like, that was really weird. And her friends were like, yeah, that's weird. Initially, I thought Saxon was going to get in with this group of girls, but I guess they're a little bit outside of his age group. So, 2 characters I haven't mentioned yet are Mook and Gaytok. Gaytok is the security guard at the White Lotus Resort, and Mook is a worker there. Their dynamic is he kind of simps for her, and she's like kind of too good for him, but kind of leads him on. So she's going to push back on his romantic advancements at the beginning. You know, simps never win, guy best friend type vibes. Like he picks her up to go to work and stuff, and they talk every day, but it's more of a friendship thing for her than he's trying to make it like dates and try and make it romantic, but she's not really having any of that. So tough scenes for the boy Gaytok. And so there was an initial scene in the first episode which I didn't even cover. I don't even know if I want to talk about this whole dynamic of Lachlan and sexuality. I feel like I can't capture it well enough, but in the first episode, when he was picking between the siblings, he had to pick who to stay with, who to sleep with. Stared at Saxon's ass. They were like talking about jerking off. They said he didn't think Saxon said he didn't think Piper ever had sex. So Lachlan, of course, tells this to Piper tomorrow, and saying Piper telling her she hasn't had sex and she's hot, which I don't even know if that happened. I feel like that was weird, but yeah, a lot of incest vibes coming from this family early on, and of course it leads to the infamous scene later on. She gets offended pretty instantly. I think really she's like the most reasonable Ratliff. Like she's the one who's the most honest with herself. That doesn't really take into effect here, but she's the one who actually like thinks with a straight head and is like, that's fucking weird, and just leaves him out there. And then she's like, have you actually, he asked her like, have you actually though? And she's like, dude, Piper W. So big scene in this episode, a robber comes and takes all of the jewelry from the store. Gaytok is pistol whipped when trying to stop them. They don't have any guns or anything, so when someone holds up the gun, it's GG for them. I guess there's a valuable store there that has like jewelry and stuff. We meet our good friend Greg, aka Gary. He is back from season 2 after the infamous scheme with Tanya, and he is running some sort of scam, in my opinion, I thought, because he's going under Gary, but I guess he just decides to go to all the White Lotuses after being like a major murder suspect at one of them, but find me another White Lotus in Thailand. I guess the whole kind of vibe of that is older men in Thailand kind of can just do whatever they want, meet young women. So Belinda recognizes him instantly. Um, I guess that'll come up later on, but those two definitely have some history. And we learn a little bit more about what's going on with Tim. He's implicated in some things to do with Brunei, which Brunei is one of those countries. No offense to anyone out there, but when you hear about Brunei, it's like you forget that that's even a country. So, but Tim was doing some fucked up stuff. We never really learned quite what it was he was doing, but he's implicated with. There's like a famous voice. It's not a famous voice actor. A famous actor on the phone. I forget who it was though. Is his boy back at home. So his situation is escalating quickly. And then we have with the trio of girls, Lori and Kate are now talking shit about Jacqueline when she leaves early, saying she has a shallow relationship with her boyfriend, famous, but she's kind of that famous person but wants more and like isn't happy in life. So they're talking shit about her. Wonder if they'll talk about Kate in the future. So, favorite from this episode, I had to give it to Chelsea. Didn't really have a super favorite from this episode, kind of hard to pick one. And seemingly Chelsea had a romantic spark with Rick back. They made some love, so good for Chelsea. Least favorite, got to go with Tim. He did some fucked up shit, and it's probably going to ruin the family vacation. You'd think so, right? But that'll wrap up episode 2. Episode 3 is titled The Meaning of Dreams, and we start this one out with Rick getting the contact of the White Lotus Thailand's owner, Sri Lata, contact card after saying he's a producer for a project that's under wraps. Now Chelsea's asking him, what's this all about? You're talking with the hotel owner. I don't really know what's going on here. He's hesitant to tell her, and he eventually becomes able to trust her a little bit more, but not right now. He flat out dismisses her, and that's one of the more sad parts of the season, is seeing Rick kind of dismiss Chelsea's love for him when she's so invested in him and so in love with him. They'll get their good ending though. So continuing on with Tim, his situation has gotten a lot worse. The FBI is at his office back home. His phone is getting blown up, and Saxon works directly under him and is his protege basically. So in order to hide all this, he gives into the phone idea from Pam, whose whole role in this season was just to take the phones. But initially they were going to be a tech family. No, we need to have Wi-Fi on a cruise, even though it costs $1 million. We're going to just have our phones in Thailand. But now that all this stuff's happening, Tim kind of forces them to give it up, all their phones, and he can't do this without giving up his own. So it's kind of good for Tim's mental health, really, to give up his phone at this point, even though he's going to get it back multiple times. So some interesting stuff happening here as people get their sort of one-on-one treatments throughout the White Lotus. Lachlan is told he's protecting his feminine side. Makes sense with being brothers with Saxon. Gaytok gets razzed by the bodyguards, which the bodyguards and Gaytok's dynamic back and forth. I feel like that kind of led to a not somber ending, but I don't know if that was really, they kind of built that up for nothing. Rick acquires some marijuana to chill out a little bit. I think he needed that for sure. Saxon connects with Chloe, who is the current girlfriend of Gary/Greg, and Tim tries one of Victoria's lorazepam, and yeah, I don't know what lorazepam is. I looked it up, and doesn't seem like that's something you want to be doing, but helps him sleep. He's stressed out, and he just becomes cracked out after this, basically. I mean, I don't know. So Rick and Chelsea are out in the town. Rick's gonna have a semi-crash out at the snake show, letting all of them free, and then one of them bites Chelsea. I know there's some meaning here of the snakes and Chelsea's story. Don't feel like caring about that. I mean, the symbolism stuff, I just see what happens and report on it. But good for Rick. I'm not a fan of animal entrapment, especially when you got him living in those shitty little tanks. Guy's probably charging $5 just to harass the snakes. I'm here for it. Back our update with the 3 girls. So first episode they were talking shit about Lori. Second episode they were talking shit about Jacqueline. Guess whose turn it is in episode 3? It's Kate. She voted for Trump, and Lori and Jacqueline are not fans of that. They don't like how she's become kind of a Bible thumper and voted for Trump. Lives in Texas now, so they're like, how could somebody ever vote for Trump? Interesting. I wonder when they filmed that part, because this came out in February, so I had to assume that, I don't know. Interesting timing stuff there, but yeah, not a fan of, or they're not a fan of Kate's political views, so that gives them their reason to talk shit on each other. So you've had the full triangle of them all just talking shit on each other. I wonder if that's actually what it's like in a girlfriend group. I don't really know because I'm not in girlfriend groups. So Belinda, on her side quest, confronts Greg about knowing him from the White Lotus in Maui. He denies it. I think that's a bad play. You got to be like, yeah, that's me, and then laughs after getting away with it after he seemingly thinks he got away with it, but there's more to come with this story. Pretty bad play from Greg, especially what we know from him in the past, and Belinda doesn't buy this for a second, so good for her. As always, Team Belinda. So Kate is going to wake up and hear them talking shit about her voting for Trump and letting her husband guide her directions. And like I mentioned before, that whole triangle has gone after each other. I think Lori has heard them talking shit about her. Kate heard them talking shit about her. Jacqueline, I'm not sure if she heard it, but they basically all know that the second you leave, you're just getting dumped on. And now at the end of this episode, Tim takes another one of the lorazepams. He's become addicted. He's going to be fucking floating the rest of the vacation. So yeah, that wraps up episode 3. Favorite for this episode, I'm going to give it to Rick. W, crash out freeing the snakes. Seems like those guys didn't have the best interests of the snakes in their heart. Least favorite, I'm giving to Greg. He's scheming up something with Belinda, some sort of mal intent there. Didn't like it, so Greg gets my least favorite of episode 3. Episode 4 is titled Hide or Seek. We jump this one out with Gaytok and the other security guard needing a gun now because of the robbery that took place. Makes sense, heightened security and all that. No really pushback on Gaytok. I didn't mention it last episode, but he kind of got pistol whipped in the face. People kind of looked at him as like a hero for that. I don't know. I'm not going to say I would step in there and do something different, so good for him. Tim, the spiral continues for our boy Tim. He's taking more and more pills. Victoria notices her pills are gone, or that he's been kind of spiraling a little bit, and he goes open robe in front of the forgot this scene happened. He opens the robe a little bit at the private parts in front of the kids, and having them all be like 20 plus. Well, Lachlan's like 18 or 19, but yeah, awkward scene for sure. So we learn a little bit more about Piper's story. She actually lied about the reason for coming to Thailand. Initially, she said she came for her thesis, but no, she came because she wants to move here for a year and then enlists Lachlan for moral support here to back up her claim. This would be a hard pill to swallow, especially if Tim wasn't on mad pills. But instead of backing her at dinner like she wants, he decides to go with Saxon to flirt and drink. He hasn't really had a lot of drinking experience, it seems like. Flirt not with Saxon yet, but with the girls there, Chloe and Chelsea. So the person we learn a little bit more about who Rick's been after. Srilata's husband is the person he believes to be responsible for the murder of his father. Finally opens up to Chelsea. I like that aspect. He'd been kind of holding back. Last episode was a big one for him with the snakes and everything, all that. I think he got some weed, chilled out, ready to tell the story. So he tells Chelsea all about that. Belinda is cooking in her room, and she finds out, she's cooking not physically. She's cooking like, let her cook. Let Belinda cook. She finds out info about Greg/Gary and the death of Tanya. Very suspicious. They don't really... I don't know how Greg wasn't wanted. It's kind of just like a case of he's the most suspicious suspect, but they don't have like a warrant for him or anything, so he just dipped to Thailand. No one can really find him. Tim, the trial continues, just down and down the hill we go. He is down bad. He's going to have to go to prison, and his assets are frozen. And he just cops the gun from Gaytok at the gate stand. Terrible security by Gaytok. I don't know why they wouldn't just lock one of those cabinets up. And, on the previews and stuff, this felt like it was a lot more than it was, but there's a lot of scenes of Tim coming up with the gun. So Greg... Also, while Belinda's doing research on him, he's doing the background research on her and her son, Zion. So this makes you worry because you think back to that first scene of the people in the water. Greg has shown to be not nice with killing people and stuff, so that makes you a little bit worried about that. So that's really all I had on episode 4. I think this was probably the weakest episode of the season. Favorite of this episode goes to Belinda. She on game with Skull. Hopefully she doesn't get killed / wins the battle over Greg. Least favorite, I got to give to Tim again. Just became addicted to drugs, and now he's maybe going to kill himself with the gun. He also embezzled mad people that we don't really know even what that was about in Brunei, but fucked up. So that's enough for episode 4. Episode 5 is titled Full Moon Party, and we are going to get into a huge party here, guys. Victoria starting this one out, just being so clueless on everything, kind of crazy. I mean, like I mentioned before, her character is goated. Parker Posey, great acting. She has a conversation with Piper about moving to Thailand, and I think she says Taiwan. I need to do the accent. Taiwan. I can't do the accent. But Victoria W, just for being a clueless. So we come to find out from Fabian, who I haven't mentioned yet. He's kind of just like a background character. He was asking about Belinda, a little bit scary there, when someone's making inquiries on your behalf. Fabian is just a complete brick in this case scenario. I mean, you have Belinda here doing a case study telling you for a fact that like one of the only other Americans here is trouble, and he's like, no, he's fine because he lives above the White Lotus. He's not going to do anything bad. Greg's a scary dude. I don't know if they were kind of like coming at you with the music and stuff, and the stuff moving was probably just the monkeys outside of Belinda's place, but I was like, he might pull up and just take her out at some point. Well, you have to wait for Zion to get there because Zion's going to see the dead body, so there's that. But I don't know, felt sus, like something was going to happen. So with Lachlan, the party that they're going on, it's Chloe, Chelsea, Lachlan, and Saxon, and they're just going to take random drugs in the street. Lachlan, bro, what are you doing, man? He is just out of high school, so maybe, he has that vibe of like, oh, I need to do mad drugs, whatever. Just immediately takes the drug. Even Saxon's like, dude, we shouldn't take a random drug in the streets of Thailand. I was, come on, Locke. And then Chelsea and Saxon end up taking it as well. I knew right away this wasn't going to end well with them taking this party pill. I don't have any experience with that type of stuff, but it just seems like a bad idea, especially in Thailand. I mean, Chloe's kind of pushing this idea, but it's odd. So with the 3 women, we have Kate being the only rational one. She doesn't want the guys to come back to the villa. I think they've been on their little party as well. Jacqueline trying to feel a vibe. In particular, feel a vibe. Yeah, I mean, I'd be the kid of the situation. Like, let's not let these random Russian guys come back to our place. But it doesn't work so well when you have 2 horny women. Things are going to happen. Lori stripping at the pool after the weird Russian guy does it. I thought for sure Lori was going to bang the trainer guy. I was wrong about that. Well, technically wrong. Rick is on his side quest, took a flight to Bangkok. It's going interesting. One of the best scenes of television this year, Sam Rockwell in his guest appearance gave a crazy monologue. He got tired of having sex with girls, so he became a lady boy, dressed up as lady boy and get fucked, pay someone to watch it. And it's a weird idea of him wanting it to be like him fucking a girl, but he acts it out. I can't even do that scene justice. Just a crazy monologue from Sam Rockwell's character. I mean, I don't even know where to start with that. You're dressing up as a lady boy, which it's 2025, do your thing. Things happen, I'm not saying that's good or bad. It's just that's not something I would do, but if that's what you want to do, who am I to judge you? Get fucked. I mean, like I just said before, but you're paying someone to watch it on top of that. And then he wants it to be like an idea of him fucking a girl, but someone's fucking him. It makes no sense in my opinion. But, Rick has the best facial reactions. There's a good meme out there of Rick just being like, I would be the same way. I mean, it's hard to even contain it. Crazy. So in Belinda's life, a lot of stuff going on with Greg and Gary, but she gets a little positive, little kiss with Porn Chai. I liked her and Porn Chai's dynamic. Like, Porn Chai was good vibes. We'll talk about their ending, but Felt like that was a genuine back and forth relationship. We saw them kind of build it up throughout these couple episodes, them to kiss, have a nice night together. I thought that was cool. Now, Jacqueline, my girl, has been trying to hook up Lori with the trainer guy that's been with them the whole time. And now, when she gets a little horny and wants to have sex, she pulls this to him and invites Mor to her room. And something sus is going on with Jacqueline. I think she might just need attention because she's famous. She has this long-term boyfriend who doesn't answer her call at first. I mean, it's crazy, and this was just like fucked up. Like I think of the three friends, Jacqueline's the most fucked up. I'm gonna say that with a straight face because I believe that to be true. The fuck are you doing? I mean, you're telling Lori to hook up with this guy the whole time, and then you do it. Hypocrite. Come on, be nice, be a good friend. I'm Team Lori forever. So the boat party continues. Chloe got the boat from Gary, and we're going to do a kissing circle where everyone kisses one person, which never catch me doing this, obviously. But the kissing, well, just the kissing circle in general, not even the next part, which I don't even have to say I would never do. So they make the girls kiss, and then they're like, why don't you guys kiss? And this ends with Lachlan and Saxon kissing, which looked like Lachlan enjoyed that kiss a little bit too much, leading on to what we'll see later. But yeah, obviously incest vibes continue. Speaking of the Ratliff family, we end the episode with Tim. He's got another great. This season had so many good memes. You have Tim in the Duke shirt with the gun to his head. I mean, that made a lot of sense for a lot of Duke bettors out there. Final Four. But as soon as he's about to do it, Victoria walks in. Coincidentally, it seems like every time Tim was ready to take that next step and kill himself, which I don't think he should have. I think he should have faced the music. Well, he will face, But Victoria walks in, saves the day, so no suicide for Tim for now. So let it wrap up episode 5. Favorite of episode 5, I'm giving it to Belinda. She clocked Greg again, and getting her kiss with Porn Shy was a W. Least favorite, I got to give it to Fabian. I think he's pretty suspect. He doesn't believe Belinda about her telling him the bad truth about Greg. Kind of speaks to gay talk in a demeaning way, in my opinion, so I didn't like that out of Fabian. So there's my least favorite for episode 5. Episode 6 is titled Denials. Start this one out with Kate witnessing the crimes Jacqueline committed against Lori. Last episode sees Valentine leaving her room. Wonder if that'll play a factor in the next couple episodes. So, speaking of debriefing last night, we got to figure out what the hell happened with Saxon, Chloe, and Lachlan. Looks like a little bit of a threesome. Saxon was jerking off next to them, fucking. Was he, though? We'll find out. Zion finally arrives at the White Lotus, Thailand at the exact perfect time. Pornchai sleeping naked next to his mother, Belinda. Very awkward, but Zion, I think, is a slept-on character. Like, he kind of has that alpha energy that Saxon has, but in like a good way. Like, he doesn't let this shit affect him, It's like he's happy for his mom to have someone in her life like that, He's like, I'll give you guys a second. So I like that. Lori finds out from Kate about what happened with Jacqueline and Valentine, and she's taking it personally, as she should. I mean, Jacqueline has been pushing all fucking vacation that she needs to get with someone. She's the one who's single. She can have fun in Thailand. Everything that happens in Thailand stays in Thailand. Then you go sleep with the guy she was going after. Not cool. Not cool. Team Lori, fuck Jacqueline. I'd be pissed too. And we go to the Ratliff family, where Lachlan actually does stand up for Piper on her idea of staying for a year. He backs her up in front of the parents. They're kind of a little bit surprised, but good for Lachlan. Now that we don't know it yet, but he's played his one side, didn't work out. He's gonna try and go for the other side. Lori, slowly becoming more and more unhinged. She demands Kate to get a drink, makes everyone get a drink at the table, rats out Kate for telling her about Jacqueline and Valentine, and then gets upset with Jacqueline for her manipulation. I think in situations like this, It's better to just say it than get frustrated, keep that shit held in. So good energy, not good energy, but like I thought that was good of Lori. Get that out, flush it out, and it's awkward now, but we'll figure out what happens in the future. These friend groups, they last, so it's good to get your shit out now. Gay talk finally has a time where Tim's gonna leave the room, so he does a search and seize of the firearm. First pull in the cabinet. There's like 20 cabinets that Tim put one in, and Gay Talk first pull, bang. So looks like it's Gay Talk's lucky day. Gets the gun back, doesn't have to report it, doesn't have to suss out Tim anymore. He just took the gun, and Tim kind of loses the gun and is like, maybe I'm just high on drugs. I don't know what his vibe was after losing the gun, but I felt like that'd be something you'd be a little bit more concerned about being misplaced. But you've got 20-year-old kids, you'll be fine. Victoria, in conversations with Tim, it comes up. She says she wouldn't want to live at all if they lost everything. Bad news, because you're going to be getting a shake in episode 8 because you can't live without luxury. I mean, she's the most hardcore into this. We have everything. I couldn't imagine being poor, and I couldn't imagine not having everything. So with Tim's situation where he's going to lose everything, it's like, shit. But Victoria's also like, she's a great character, but it's like, who really gives a fuck about Victoria? I don't know. It's a weird dichotomy of thoughts, because I've praised her throughout this pod, but it's like, at the end of the day, you can maybe go without getting your steak cooked in front of you for a day. It's kind of that anti-rich person. I mean, this whole show is like anti-rich person vibes because they're all fucked up. There it is. Anyways. Our boy Saxon makes it down to the pool side where Chloe and Chelsea are shooting the shit. They've become really good friends throughout this. Forgot to mention that on a chance encounter. But Saxon is like, I'd never had a threesome with a guy. And then Chloe's like, what about last night? And he's like, what are you talking about? Because he was on those drugs and drunk as fuck. He's like, your brother was jerking you off last night. And this flusters him to high hell. He gets really embarrassed. I mean, as he should be. That's pretty bad, bro. And Lachlan finally got his day to, I heard rumors, I don't know about you guys, I heard rumors throughout the season that there was going to be a gay sex scene, like them, doing more than what they did. So at the end of the day, I'm glad that was all that was. But yeah, Lachlan, I mean, he'll give his explanation in episode 8, but I can't. I don't know. Can't imagine it. Just not my thing. Wouldn't do it. Just really awkward scene. Thanks, Mike White. Moving on. Greg and Belinda have an interaction. He scares her right outside of her place, but then invites her over for the dinner that they're having tomorrow, a dinner party, and they're going to, quote unquote, talk this out. I thought this was going to be bad news again. I think I just had a lot of the viewers were with me, I think I had really bad thoughts of what Greg was going to do, but it didn't end up being that terrible. Rick, at the end of this episode, is finally able to acquire his meeting with the guy who killed his dad, supposedly. So that's good for Rick in Bangkok. And that'll wrap up episode 6. So favorite of episode 6, giving it to my girl Lori. Get it out there, sister. Respect for giving it out, dishing it out. Jacqueline's been gaslighting her throughout the season. So W, Lori. Least favorite, going to Greg, putting together some schemy dinner party that I thought was going to be like a scary murder party. Didn't like the vibes of Greg this episode. So that will wrap up episode 6. Episode 7 is titled Killer Instincts. And we pick right back up where we left off with Rick. Him and Frank have a terrible plan coming into this meeting with Srilata and her husband. Frank breaks sobriety right away, which he gave another kind of speech about how he was a couple years sober, got rid of the alcohol. Srilata's like, what film did you like me in? Can't sit, like, they don't have any films. They didn't do any research before coming to this meeting. It's like, guys, maybe we should have done that. Terrible context for everything, but it is what it is. Chelsea and Rick are yin and yang, as Chelsea is explaining to somebody. She's hope and he's pain. Chelsea's romantic explanations of her and Rick's relationship, super tough throughout, especially knowing the end now, but sometimes love is real. Mook being a meanie to Gay Talk about not having a killer instinct. Didn't like Mook at all. Wanted to give her a chance, but she's a gaslighter too, bro. I can't deal with her. I don't like her. Um, can't people just be nice in the world? You know, some of us have killer instinct. But some people have it. I don't have it. You know, other people have it. Some people are born with a killer instinct. Some people aren't. Give my boy Gay Talk a break. Damn. So the Lori and Jackie feud continues. It's becoming hostile. Kate is now jumping in on Lori too. Lori's like, peace out, bitches. I'm going to the fight with all the guys, which I thought was going to end horribly and pretty much does end horribly, but, you know, good for Lori. She is single. It's the second to last night. Might as well have fun, right? Back to Tim. Saxon is pressing him. Dude, you're acting out of it. I mean, he's been on drugs all week. He's tweaking out about the stuff in Brunei. Tim, I don't know how no one really caught on to Tim's being, like, out of it throughout this whole season. Saxon's like, my whole career is tied to yours, and he has no interests, no hobbies, which maybe once you say that out loud, it's like, I know there's a thing out there, guys don't have hobbies and all that stuff, but maybe once you speak that into existence, it's like, hey, maybe I should find something to do, like I like fishing. I don't know, I feel like saying you have no hobbies is it's sad. It's a sad statement. No interests, no hobbies. The fuck, dude? Guys being dudes, though, am I right? So, continuing on with Greg and Belinda's storyline, starting price to give Belinda to just not talk about this situation, 100K. And this will help her start her business in exchange for peace in his legal battle. She won't rat on him and he gets the ride out here in Thailand. She's not having it. She doesn't think 100K is enough, first off, and she also doesn't want to be like slimy and take money from him when she knows the truth and, you know, was sort of friends with Tanya, doesn't really think that'd be right. So we'll see what happens with that. Rick, on his confrontation, he finally got it. Instead of shooting him like he thought he was going to do, he just ends up knocking him over in his chair. They make a grand escape out of there. Kind of a letdown, but, you know, we'll get more in the finale. Gay Talk remembers Vlad and Valentine and Alexei scheming during the robbery because him and Mook are on their first date at the fights that Lori's also happeningly at with the Russian fellas. So he remembers Alexei. No, I think Alexei is the Vlad. He remembers Vlad's bald head coming out of the car, puts two and two together, realizes that Valentine schemed for Alexei and Vlad to come in, take the robbery. So he now knows that they're the ones who committed the robbery, which is valuable information to have that I don't think he uses to best of the possible uses, but we'll get into that in a second. Lachlan, all of a sudden, after Saxon kind of woke up yesterday and was like, dude, like, Saxon wanted nothing to do with Lachlan. Now all of a sudden he wants to go hang out with Piper and go to Thailand for a year. He wants to stay at the monastery as well. And she's not happy about that. I mean, initially I thought that she was just going to dip because she didn't want to stay with Lachlan, but there's further reasons why we learn in the next episode why she does leave, but I think this is part of it too. If she stayed, Lachlan was going to stay. And, you know, I feel like Lachlan was getting a lot more out of the classes, you know, leaving stuff in Thailand and all that stuff. So I thought, you know, maybe Lachlan would end up staying and just pulling a Quinn, but season 1 reference, but I don't know. Chloe is going to inform Saxon about Greg's sexual fantasies, right up with Sam Rockwell's character, where Greg, when he was a kid, witnessed his parents having intercourse, and then he stood outside the door and he didn't really understand what was happening, but he didn't not like it, and it kind of turned him on. So now he wants to see Chloe with a younger guy, and then he walks in and that's how he gets off. I don't like are these made up fetishes and stuff. Like I don't know if these stuff is real. Again, I'm not judging, but initially you think he's recruiting Saxon to like kill him because he's fucking his girl, but he wants him there to do that. And then Chloe's like, you want to do that? Just bang me. And then he'll walk in. It's like, no one really wants to do that, especially since I'm leaving in like 2 days. Saxon not having any of that. So Lori at the fights gets into it, you know, revenge time because she wasn't able to get it with Valentine. She gets into it with Alexei, gets it on, and as soon as they are done, another great meme scene where he's like, I need help getting into the country, I need $10,000. And she's like, dude, we just slept together. Like, I'm never going to see you again. And also, bro just robbed the hotel. Where's that money? Like, I think you're good. As Lori is making an escape because Alexi's girlfriend comes into the room, found the jewelry, there it is, confirmed that they stole it. And yeah, she runs away. After the girlfriend pulls up, Tim makes another late night escape to potentially commit suicide, but now realizes that he lost the gun. So big intrigue with every storyline heading into our finale. Favorite of this episode I'm giving to Piper. Not really many to choose from, but liked her clocking Lachlan's weirdness and, maybe thinking this isn't the best idea. I think she's the most grounded, honest character throughout the show. Least favorite I'm giving to Mook, being mean. I don't trust her intentions at all. Doesn't really seem to be having fun on that date. So that wraps up episode 7. 8th and final episode of season 3 is titled Amor, Fati. And right away, we're picked back up with Rick. He turns down the night's festivities, him and Frank having a crazy night out after escaping. Doesn't want to continue on with the strippers. Some initial just intro stuff here. It kind of goes fast. Gay talk. Going to tell the other security guard about the robbery and who did it. Potentially, he says it has information. Jacqueline apologized to Lori about Valentine. Good job, Jacqueline. This arc for the ladies ends in a nice way this episode, but kind of fucked up what you did still. We don't fuck with you. So, revelation from Piper. She didn't like the food situation in the bedroom at the Monk Center. Really breaks down about privilege. She's saying, I didn't think that I was like everyone else, but I am. I need my things too. I need air conditioning. I need to be in a place that has nice meal prepared food. And this fucks Tim up because Tim thought he had Lachlan and Piper, who would be anti money and be able to live without money, but now Piper is on that train too, so it's really only Lachlan. And this is a hard realization for Piper because I think she wants to be different than the rest of her family. I think she wants to think, I don't need money, I don't need these types of things, I could live out the grid for a couple of years, whatever. But when you're actually faced with the reality of the situation, not so easy, is it? So tough look there. Saxon and Lachlan finally have their conversation. Lachlan's like, what's up, dude? You haven't been talking to me. And Saxon's like, I don't think you needed to be jerking me off. And this is crazy. Lachlan's like, I'm a people pleaser. Sorry, I just try to do what's best for everyone. And somewhat rekindles there. I'm sure it'll never be the same after. Like, how could you even? I think Barstool Big Cat said it. One of them has to kill themselves. It's simple as that. Like, how do you ever even interact as a family after that? Ugh. I just don't even know what to say. So we do get a nice moment with Rick and Chelsea. They reunite on the beach after Rick makes his way back from Bangkok. He actually looks happy for once. I think this whole situation has kind of freed his mental state to be like, okay, now I know what's going on. I got my revenge, sort of. Everything's all good. At least that's the way the showrunners are leading it on for it to be. But, we can't have nice things. Tim, back in the room, kicks out Lachlan. He's asking Lachlan, like, if you would you be able to live without any money for a year? And Lachlan kind of passes. He's like, yeah, I think I would. And Tim's kind of like egging him on, like, you would, right? He's like, yeah, I think I would. So he's like, go have fun, go do something fun. I'm gonna hang out here, but it's your last day, go have fun out there. Sus behavior. So Valentine somehow knows that Gay Talk knows about the robbery, and he says, if you say anything, we'll all be deported. Mook is a snitch. Like, how would he have any idea that Gay Talk knew? Mook is terrible. Like, as this, me recapping all these episodes, it's like, Mook is terrible, bro. Damn. She snitched, like, and Gay Talk didn't even say it straight up. I think he was just like, I think I have an idea of who committed the robbery. I think Mook might have been in on it. She's like, oh, blah, 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 blah. Come on, man. I didn't like that, though. But Gay Talk, L energy, should have just said something at the beginning. whatever. Mook's going to leave you in 2 years. That be it said. Tim back at the room now that Lachlan's out of the room. He confirms with Pam, who only comes to tell them that they'll get their phones back tomorrow, that the fruit is poison, and he's up to no good now. Grabs a couple of them. It's like, what's bro doing with all this poisonous fruit? Kick it back to Belinda and Zion. Zion W negotiator. Like, I need Zion fighting for me in everything in my life. He works the deal with Greg and Belinda. Belinda's not having it, but she was scheming as well, where he's like, I think we need $5 million. And she's like, I can't do this anymore. She fake walks out. She's playing hardball. Like, I got to make it seem like I'm not interested at all to drive up the number. So I respect this. W play, like, Zion and Belinda got a really good, I think they have probably the best family connection of everyone we've seen on the show. Like, they know each other. They're doing what's best for each other. They got each other's backs. I fuck with it. Tim, he's going to order drinks for everyone with the blender, but spare. He's not going to order them. He's going to make pina coladas for everyone, but spare Lachlan because he passed the money test. I thought this was a little bit cheap. Like, why wouldn't you save Piper too, just because she had a bad time at the thing and admitted she needs certain things in life? Like, even if you're broke, she can go back and find air conditioning, and like, she's not going to be poor and wanted to commit suicide. Like Saxon, I get. It's like, okay, he'd be nothing because his whole career is tied to my career. I'm in the shitter. He's going to be in the shitter. But it's like, dude, I think Piper would have been okay. And also just killing your whole family with shakes, nonetheless, it's like fucked up. Free my girl Victoria. Free Saxon. What the fuck is this? Like, family suicide? What? Come on. This family's fucked up. Family suicide, incest. What else? The rise of fam. Like, damn, this family, bro. Crazy. Rich people suck and are crazy. So things continue to be going well between Chelsea and Rick, and like I noted, this is not good. Just too happy of an ending. I mean, a lot of these characters get a happy ending, but not the love of our heart, Chelsea and Rick. Whatever, man. Whatever. Kill the only two good characters. Kill the only good love. Lori. Honestly, this is heartwarming, though. Lori has a nice moment with her friends. Time provides meaning. How nice. I mean, they all reconcile and laugh. A lot of shit talking. I mean, all of them can't say they were innocent. They literally all talk shit on each of the other two people when they weren't around. They banged people. Well, not Kate, but the other two. Like, had crazy nights, party. Like, I feel like this is the perfect girls' vacation. Like, there was drama, but at the end of the day, they can all get back together and smile and laugh. And then I'm sure that, like, as soon as they get home, they'll be like, remember Thailand? That was a good trip. Like, so I'm glad for them, you know, because there was always like a heightened sense of maybe this was going to get toxic, and it did get toxic in the last couple episodes with Jacqueline stealing Valentine. But I'm glad that they were able to, you know, figure it all out. And W speech from Lori. I feel like every episode had a nice, like, monologue speech. This was definitely Lori's moment in the season finale here. So we have the death pina coladas being passed out. High anxiety. Is he really going to commit family suicide? Tim takes a drink. Saxon, Piper, Victoria all take a drink too. I'm like, what the fuck? Are we actually about to see 4 people die right in front of our face? But Tim has a moment of realization, just like he's had throughout the season. Also, he had a lot of moments of, well, not a lot, but just moments of him like killing Victoria and killing his family. It's like, dude, I think Tim needs a therapist after this season. Fuck, man. But he's going to break the glass of Saxons. The milk wasn't good enough. The pour wasn't good enough. Good excuse to just not kill your family. Glad he ended up going that way. Gay Talk is going to make the decision to finally tell his boss about the robbery, but he balks on it, and he goes for the quit route. You know, the boss is like, dude, you're not quitting. You've been working here for 5 years. You're good at your job. He's like, I think I'm not cut out for this. I'm going to quit. Gay Talk in this finale, bro. Belinda actually gets the $5 million wired to her account. Hell yeah. I thought maybe, you know, something bad might happen to her, but we're here for the vibes. W, Belinda, and Zion is going to a stress management course, which call back to the beginning of season 3, episode 1. I don't know why I said season 3. Zion was in a stress management class. So you know it's about to happen. We're about to hear gunshots. Shit's about to go down. Lachlan, disgusting disgusting work here where he gets up and sees the blender with shit on the bottom of it and just proceeds to make a smoothie on top of it after all this time. Like, his brother was forcing him to have the smoothies. I forgot to mention that aspect of it. Saxon makes the protein shakes as like the Sigma, Alpha, Energy, whatever. But Lachlan, clean out the fucking blender, bro. Like, I don't care if you even put the death shit in there. You're gonna go with a dirty blender where like probably like an eighth of it's filled with shit. Dude, you're rich. Like, come on, man. You gotta know to clean that shit out. I'm surprised he didn't just ask for a whole new fucking blender. So he cooks up a death smoothie, poison residue in there. I was like, what are you doing, brother? God, I had high hopes for Lachlan coming into the season. I was like, youngest brother, maybe he'll give like some Quinn energy, maybe he'll be cool. No, man. Lachlan ended up being the worst sibling. Sorry. Also forgot to mention when Rick and Chelsea reunited, Saxon gave that look of like, fuck, there is love out there and I'm just a single guy like trying to be Andrew Tate and I suck. So that was a good moment as well. So Rick is going to have a confrontation with Jim again at breakfast. Obviously, the last time they saw each other, Rick had pushed Jim down at the chair. Jim calls his mother a slut, a liar, and something else bad. His dad was a loser. And Jim's like, hey, I got one on me. He's got a gun stocked. I'm forgetting this. Oh, Scott Glenn, I think, is the actor. W. Stick from Daredevil. Also was just in 2 movies I just watched. So teaser for that, Backdraft and Hunt for Red October. So check those out, those reviews, if you're a Scott Glenn fan. But he's got a gun. He's locked and loaded. And Rick's like, fuck this fucked me up. And he actually goes back to Amrita, who Amrita was the person with Zion at the beginning of the stress management, but also was helping Rick through his stress management. And also because Rick was going through a lot. But Amrita's like, I got a client. I have like 1 session a day and it's with Zion right now. I can't really host you for a session. You'd have to wait an hour and then we can talk. And yeah, I thought this might be the event that triggers it all. It is. It is. Meanwhile, Lachlan is dying while 4 monk-style figures look down on him. I don't know if that was meant to be his family, like a symbolism for his family. And then his lights go out. It's like, fuck, we lost Lachlan. I mean, I don't care for him personally, but to be the youngest, 20, die like that sucks. Tim finds him. Like, that's heartbreaking. You almost killed your son with a poison smoothie. You know, or in this moment, he did. It's fucked. It's like, help. Lachlan's fucking dead because I made poison smoothies. Like, damn, bro. Anyways, Rick is just stewing. It eats at him. He's got to go confront Jim, and he shoots him. Stupid. Just like go somewhere else. Let it go anywhere else. We find out Jim is his father in a Star Wars type thing that people were pissed off about for some reason. And he grabs Chelsea to go along with him. This was the worst part of the finale. Why would he ever grab Chelsea to come with him? It's like, just tell her to run. I mean, I know she's like, I'm not going to run away from you, but it's like, I have a fucking gun I'm getting shot at. Go away. Rick kills the 2 bodyguards, which ends the arc with them in gay talk that I was talking about before. Meaningless. And then we find out my girl Chelsea got shot. Background fodder, just shot. Don't know why. She was tagging along with Rick. What can you say, man? Stupid. Chelsea got shot. So Gay Talk has his moment, one shining moment. Shoots Rick, is able to put him down. Sri Lata's happy with that, just killed his husband and 2 bodyguards. And he falls into the water with Chelsea. They end up in like a yin and yang position. So there's your fucking yin and yang. I was so mad that these were the 2 that went. And Lachlan wakes up, found God. Good for him, bro. Like, thought we could have maybe, see you later, add some impact to the finale. I don't know why they did a fake out death with him, but because we always knew people were going to be shot. So for him to die like that would be pretty shocking as well. But that wraps up our story, man. Feels like we had a little bit more to go with everyone. I thought I'll tell you what happens with everyone at the end. The Ratcliffe family and the woman head home. The women are clearly a little bit traumatized. I just rewatched that scene actually on Twitter because someone pointed it out from the shooting. They're not having a good time. They're like, fuck, we gotta get out of here. Greg and Chloe find a new guy for Greg to walk in on and continue their weird kink. Valentine and his friends are still out drinking with guests. Sam Rockwell became a monk. Actually, that's a crazy arc. Gaytok became the security guard for Sri Lata. I guess that's your arc between the bodyguards. He just replaced them by doing his thing and being calm at the end. He impresses Mook, seemingly continuing their romantic relationship. And Belinda and Zion leave porn shy behind with $5 million in the bank. So of all these conclusions, I don't like the conclusion for the Ratcliffe family. Like, we don't touch on a lot of stuff here about how they're going to go back to not having any money. I mean, it doesn't really make sense because it's like a one-off season, so it doesn't really matter at the end. But it's like they all kind of look up at Tim once they get their phones back. So that was like decent enough. I thought maybe you could have compounded on that a little bit more. Also, how Tim basically almost killed Lachlan and all of them. That will never be addressed. I feel like that could have been maybe used a scene as well. But yeah, I mean, I think Saxon's story was pretty good. Learning about true love, Piper's story, admitting privilege, Lachlan's story of being an incestuous loser. What is Lachlan's story? He found God. It's like, I'm here blessed to have another day. I don't know what Lachlan's story is. Greg and Chloe, I'm fine with that ending for them. They'll probably just keep finding guys. That's fine. Valentine, don't really care about. Sam Rockwell, I thought that was an interesting twist. Gaytok becoming the security guard. It's like, okay, bro, you got your promotion, you got your girl, have fun. Mook going with him, once again gaslighting El Mook. And finally, Belinda and Zion, the most controversial, leaving porn shy behind. All you guys out there who don't have at least $1 million in your bank account, look at me right now and tell me you would start a business with porn shy if you had $5 million wired in your account. We're all getting the fuck out of Thailand and buying a ranch in Montana and never talking to anyone we know ever again. Like, stop. Okay? And people are saying it's like how Tanya did Belinda. It's like, girl, she learned her lesson. She ain't falling for this shit again. W Belinda. Leading into my favorite of the episode, I'm giving it to Belinda. Cashed out. She can start her own business now if she wants to. Doesn't even need to. She has fucking $5 million in her bank account. She had $12,000 before that. Now she has $5 million, $12,000. Leave the girl alone. She cashed out, man. Was worried that Belinda would end up dead due to Zion's concern in episode 1, so she made it out, cashed out. W Belinda, favorite of this episode. Least favorite, I'm giving to Rick. Shouldn't have gone for Jim. Shouldn't have brought Chelsea along with him. Should have just waited more time. Elle crash out, in my opinion. Over emotional decision costed him and Chelsea their lives. So we did it. White Lotus season 3 recap episode by episode in the books. Once again, what were your guys' takes on season 3? Fun season. Excited for season 4. Videos to expect in the future. We'll have season 3 White Lotus character tier list, which I know people love the tier list, so that should be fun to see people's reaction to that. Besides that, Severance season 2 recap and tier list will be coming out as well. In addition, I mentioned the movie reviews, backdrafts, and the hunt for Red October. Sports is happening as well. NBA playoffs, NFL round 1 mock draft. So it's all happening here in the Dubcast. Appreciate you guys watching through the whole video. As always, leave a like, leave a dislike, comment, subscribe, join the Dubcast Nation. And as always, be easy, y'all.